Hey everybody, Len Erickson here with another Purveyor of Light tip. As we all know, yesterday Adobe has released the new version of Lightroom Classic 7.3 out, and I've been playing around with it and going over the new features and seeing what's changed, as well as what's changed in the background. And I think that's more importantly is the things that we not necessarily don't see right apparently. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Again, we'll just cover the basic changes and then we'll talk about what's happening under the hood. Okay, so the first thing in the Adobe Lightroom changes here is under the basic panel. You'll see that we now have the DeHaze right here on the main basic panel. That's long overdue. I always felt that the DeHaze should have been up as a basic adjustment instead of having to dig down, way down in the panel and coming all the way down and, hunting for it under the effects. It's now just in the basic panel. Functionality is exactly the same as it was before. Okay, the second thing that's gone on is previews. Okay. We all have our presets and we like to look at them. And now, first we used to have this little navigator window here in the upper left. And when we hovered over an effect, it would change only in the navigator menu. It would never change in the main editing window here. So it had limited usefulness. Now, I'm happy to say that Adobe has changed the preview so that when we hover over a preset, okay, you'll notice that the main development window also previews the changes. So that is a very welcome change in my opinion, because now I can actually hover over the presets, see what it's doing to the photo, and so I find that very, very useful. Okay. So live previews are done well. Another thing about presets, okay, we've been dealing with presets for the past decade in Lightroom, and that there's been an under the hood change, okay, and it's a very important change actually, okay, even though you may never see it or need it, or I think it's a really nice thing, is presets used to work in Lightroom, but they wouldn't work in Photoshop. You go into Camera Raw and Photoshop, they were useless. The presets, you couldn't take your presets with you from Lightroom to Photoshop, etc., etc. Now, Adobe has rewritten the presets so that the presets are no longer in the Lightroom template format. They are now been converted to XMP format. Okay, and this happens all under the hood. Okay, it's nothing visually. But if you go into your preset folder, you'll see that Adobe has rewritten and converted all your presets to the XMP format now. So what does that mean? That means when you go into Photoshop, okay, now if I had a preset in Lightroom, I can now use it in Photoshop, which is a great thing. Okay, so now having the two systems work together makes a more seamless workflow. So let me go ahead and just open up a Camera Raw filter. And here we are in the Camera Raw filter in Photoshop. And I'll go to the last tab here for presets. And you'll see all of my Lightroom presets are now available to me within Lightroom. And I think this is just a fantastic thing. So now we have that communication between the two and interchangeability, where presets can move between Lightroom and Photoshop, etc., etc. So I think that's a great addition. Okay, let's see what else we have going on. All right, so in addition to the previews and the presets, the last big thing is the big thing that everybody's been talking about, of course, has been the profiles. And the profiles have been totally rewritten. I mean, Lightroom has always had profiles, okay, but they were buried way down in the tablet, and most people never even knew they were there. But we used to have the ability to work with Adobe Standard, or you could set a profile directly to the camera model that took the picture, which was most of us did. Okay, most of us would just set it to the camera that we were taking it with. And Adobe themselves haven't updated the profiling on the standards for a number of years. So I'm happy to announce that Adobe has completely rewritten the profiles now, and they've given a better interface so that we can actually choose what we want to work with. Right here at the top, it's at the top of your workflow now in the program. You can come in and select from any of the new things, Adobe Color, Landscape, Portrait, or the Standard, as well as some new ones. You also have backward support. So if you, for whatever reason, don't like the new methods and the new profiles, you can use your legacy profiles. They're still within Lightroom. What the big thing here is the grid view here. You hit the grid, and this opens up the grid view, and I can now hover over each one of these, and I can see a live change of what that color profile is going to do to my image. So it makes it really nice for me to be able to see what the differences are. Adobe Color is the newest standard one within Lightroom. When you import new photos, it'll come in under the Adobe Color. I think it's actually a big improvement on how Adobe processes images. Like I said, you also still have your camera, which has been in Lightroom before. You can use your camera presets that were set to the camera that took the picture. As well as, if you don't like the new ones, you can always go to the legacy section here, and you can set the legacy standards for the photo. Okay. So I think this is a good move forward. I think these profiles, one of the things that's very important to see is, I think Adobe is planning on merging presets and profiles. At least that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think presets are going to go away, and I think profiles are going to be the new presets of the world. The advantage of them, the way they're being designed right now, is, like when you use a preset, all of our sliders, any adjustments that were made with the preset changes our image. And so maybe you want to adjust the exposure, you want to adjust the contrast, and then you hit a preset over here in the left panel, and all of those settings get overwritten. Okay. Now with profiles, that doesn't happen. Profiles do not mess with your settings that you've already made on the image. So if you've made an adjustment with exposure or contrast and so forth, a preset does not change those. So that's a big advantage. And then also, like I said, I believe that we're going to start to see a big explosion of third-party profiles and user-created profiles hit the market really, really soon. So I'm glad for the changes. I think Adobe's done a nice job here. It's a nice update. I think they made a big improvement on the color profiles with the Adobe Color. I think it's actually quite a big difference. I like the way it works with the images. I like the adjustments it makes. I think it's a really good step. Moving the profiles and the presets and converting them over to XMP, I think that's also a very positive step. So all in all, I think this is actually a really good upgrade. I've been messing with it now for the past day or so, and I'm really liking what I see. So hopefully you found this useful. Hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't, leave some comments down below. I always like to hear from you. Until next time, talk to you later. Take care.